Hi, well, welcome everybody to the Empirical Paranormal panel at RoberCon 2020. My name is Dominic, and I'm here with Debbie and our director,
Hi.
Gina, who probably won't be able to hear anything you guys are saying, but I'll relay questions and stuff to her. We don't have a super big structure for this, but for our time allotted, we'll do our best to answer your questions and try to show off some stuff that we have. So let's get started. I don't know where to go with this, Debbie. You want to?
Well, Empirical Paranormal has been around since 2004. It was a huge change in 2015. Many different avenues of education just exploded with the group and skills. And we rebranded, changed the way we did everything. We changed to a more professional team where we were community specialists helping people. We still do types of
I'm on now.
actually what you call ghost hunting and things like that too. But we like to help the community and solve their issues. And we've been also a museum and two different businesses have taken us on as consultants. So if they have problems with clientele or issues there, we are able to go in and help them with their problems. So that's what we've been doing.
Yep.
Gina?
What's going on? Okay, there we go. Oh God.
I got it. I'm on now. I made it finally, but it's on my phone, people. Sorry.
Okay, Gina, I did the introduction and what we've been doing.
Okay, great.
Is there anything you want to say?
Oh, I want to say welcome. Sorry for, the delay. I was having a hard time getting on. I would like to thank RoberCon for having us. And so, Empirical Paranormal, we're pretty much a team that goes anywhere, investigates many places. We're having a lot of feedback. Sorry. We investigate many places. We do homes. We do businesses, cemeteries, all kinds of different places. Yeah, we traveled. I'm moving to another room so I don't have so much feedback. Sorry. If anybody else wants to add it from the panel onto it, that's fine.
We're basically a team that we will help anybody that we can. We will travel to wherever we need to go to help people out and to try and figure out what actually happens when we pass on to the other side and any kind of mystical entities or phenomena that might exist in our universe. We are purely scientific. We do have a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? We do have a bit of metaphysical and alternative medicine type of stuff added into our repertoire, but typically we tend to stick more so to the scientific side of it, to study the paranormal and the metaphysical as purely through a scientific lens. It's sort of our milieu to be as critical as we can about stuff. We don't just take every little thing as evidence. We don't take every little creak, every little knock and say that it's a ghost or a spirit or a haunting. We really do try to disprove as much as we can rather than prove as much as we can to try and make more sense of things that happen. We sort of have, it's sort of the opposite of what you would typically see in a paranormal team. When we can't prove something, then that's when we assume that it's what we believe in. But when we can prove something, we will tell you straight up what it is. Hey, you don't have this going on. It's simply this, simply this. And I think we bring a lot more calm and a lot more understanding to people, rather than creating hype for a field that doesn't really need the hype, so to speak.
We also use our own senses. I'm a psychic medium and an empath. And so Debbie is also an empath, and Dominic's an empath. And Dominic has some psychic abilities too. And I'm sure Debbie, she does too. And we all use that also as a tool to investigate with. So we're not just using just regular tools, you know, of the trade, like, you know, like the EMF detectors and all that. We're also using our physical senses to investigate with also. So, and there's a lot to investigating too, where you'll see the downside of things too, where it could be dangerous in some instances, like if we go into a place and there's a mold or broken stairs, or there's just not like a good vibe about the place as far as like anything like that. It's, you know, we've been through some places that have been pretty bad, I would say.
Yes.
It's a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah. So, and we spend a lot of time doing what we do. I mean, there's a lot of long hours sitting there and waiting for something to happen. And I mean, we've sat for hours and nothing would happen. And then we go back and listen to our evidence on the recorders and like on our like cameras and things like that. And then we hear something and it's like, oh, it's so worth it. All those hours just to get one or two things. It's just so worth it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work to it. It's not like what you see on TV. You know, they glam everything. They want to fit everything in an hour or 30 minutes. But it's a lot of work. You sit there, you do the investigation for hours, and then you go back and you sit for hours going through EVPs, you go through pictures, you go through video, and a lot of other different things. And it's a lot of work. And then we go back as a team, and with all of our evidence, we gather it together and we go over it together at a meeting. And that's time consuming too. And then we decide which, you know, EVPs are the good ones or pictures, and we just show each other our evidence. And then we go to the client, and then we sit down with them and go through the evidence with them too. So it's a lot of long hours, a lot of hard work.
I would like to add to that we have been the team that people have sought out to go fix other teams' issues. We've had other teams that have gone in places to investigate, and they've left things there that weren't there to begin with, and so we would be the ones to go in and, you know, clean that up. Or we had certain people that called themselves investigators, and they were going to be exorcists or something, and, you know, and there wasn't anything there to do that with, but they were smashing mirrors in people's yards that they thought they put, you know, demons in. And we would go back to that place and create the calm that client needed and give them the direct information they needed for where they were, what happened, and where they go from there. So we've been known to clean up other stuff. And so we're really the type of team that likes to go out there and say, if you don't know what you're doing, please don't do it.
Yep.
If you have no clue what you're doing, or if you think you know, don't do it. You have to know you know. Before
many people will be out there to create panic for other people for the sake of either having repeat business or just wanting to mess with other people. And we're the kind of team that our ultimate goal is to bring a sense of catharsis to people who are panicking about this, because a lot of people don't have a lot of understanding about the paranormal, and they think it's nothing but demons and negativity, and 99% of the time it's not. It's either their house or their environment or a product of them creating what they want to happen. Or if there is a spirit or a haunting or anything, it's incredibly benign, or even a positive spirit. It could be a very friendly spirit. But the initial response when you think of paranormal is, possessions and hauntings and demons, and it's not really like that. In fact, from our standpoint, I think we've only dealt with negative entities. We could probably count them on 1.5 hands, I would think. Like we barely
It's
ever
rare.
deal with them. Yeah, it's very, very
It's
rare. And
low.
even if you have a spirit that you may think is negative at first, you'll find out it's just acting the way it's acting because it's unhappy about something that the current inhabitants are doing, or that they're not happy that we're there. But then after we leave, or after the resident or the owner stops doing what they're doing, it calms right down. It stops. And most paranormal activity you're going to find isn't even aware that you're there anyway. So,
And I want to add to that too. Like some people have abilities, and the spirit is attracted to them. So, and they're not aware of that ability that they do have, and they don't know how to use the ability.
Yep.
So
So they'll
we ran
think that
into
they're
that.
being haunted, and they're not.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But really they have abilities, like mediumship abilities, or some kind of psychic medium type thing, or they're empaths, and they attract, spirit. So
I thought for many years of my life that I had some kind of weird attachment, or I had spirits follow me around for like malevolent reasons and stuff like that. And then I found out that I had the ability to reach out to them, and they had the ability to communicate with me. And it was just them simply wanting to make sense of what happened to them. And I've helped a few of them myself, and I've sent a lot of them away. And a lot of the times I think they want to reach out because they want to hang on to a sense of their humanity, and they'll do anything that they can to achieve that. So if you can make a spirit feel nice, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to deal with that spirit anymore. And realizing you have the ability to make a spirit feel better is kind of an honor, really, because you go through your whole life feeling like you're being haunted, like you're being watched, like you're being put through this on purpose. And in a sense you are, but it isn't for the reason you think. And that kind of makes you feel good, and that makes the spirits feel good, and it makes everyone around you feel good, because they know that they can rely on you to say, hey, you have this, I have something going on here, can you help me out? And you do, and the spirit's happy, they're happy, you're happy, everybody walks away happy. And you walk away with more information than you had before you showed up, which is a win-win for everybody.
yeah, and as a team, you have to work together as a team. Everybody on the team has a job to do. We all, like I said, we all work together, because if you do not work together, then, it makes it harder. There's more work on other people. So you have to work together as a team, even while you're out there investigating, also while you're even at home going through the evidence and things like that. You have to work together as a team, as a whole.
Yep.
So anybody have any questions at all, or
I just looked in the question thing. I don't see any.
no? Okay. All right, Deb, you have anything to add, or?
Well, you can find us on Facebook. We have a website called empiricalparanormal.com, and it gives all the information to contact. And anytime is okay, but if it's in the middle of the night when we're sleeping, you probably won't hear from us until the following day, okay? Because we're not like the 911 of, we're not the fire people, dig in and, we're out for the emergency, but we will take urgent things and try to make them work as much as possible with everybody's schedule and everything to get that done. So with that said, if you have something where you're scared to death, where you feel like doing that, get out. Definitely get out. Change your go stay with somebody for a while or something. You know, until you can resolve it. Don't stay in the situation. So many people do that, and then, you know, they freak themselves out into a physical sickness or an emergency situation. That's something you never want to do. It's just not worth it.
And sometimes you can make activity worse by putting up with it for a long time.
It feeds it. You're just feeding it, and it gets worse and worse and worse.
I can tell you firsthand.
We've seen different things. Like Dominic said, we've seen things, and firsthand, we've seen shadow figures, we've seen apparitions, we've seen orbs, we've seen things move by themselves. Just a lot of experiences. We've been touched, even though we don't want to be touched, we still have been touched. We ask them not to touch us, but it does happen. And, you know, as a paranormal investigator, you experience a lot of different things. So things.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Deb.
Well, the three of us here, it includes the whole team. Usually when we go in someplace, we're not afraid of anything that we're going in there for. We don't have the fear. We don't have any of that going on. But then at some point in the night, we get scared out of our wits because one's coming down one dark hallway and another one's we meet face to face in the dark. I'm like, you know, and those are the kinds of things. It's a human interaction things that tend to scare us. It's like somebody bumps something and they're behind somebody else. You could feel the vibration, hear it, and you're like, what? But it doesn't tend to be the paranormal that has that fear in it. It's us to each other.
On that same line, we actually have a question from Hannah Mayer, who asks if you've ever been scared on the job.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah,
yep, that would definitely be it, for sure.
And there's an instance one time we're in a lockdown investigation, and we did sleep for a little bit, and at 5 a.m. in the morning, a door slammed and just startled all of us. I mean, it scared us because it was startling. And the door just slammed by itself, and you know, we had no explanation for it, and we pretty much considered it being a paranormal thing.
Yep.
I think there's some cases that I've been on where the client gets worked up because they're afraid, and sometimes that scares us a little because we don't know where that client's going to go if they escalate to the next level. So that's been an issue. And we've also been in places where the actual structure, it's a little frightening. You think you're going to fall down the stairs when you know, you almost want to go down on your butt, which one of us did. Because it was a situation where you're walking down the stairs and you're holding under the railing for dear life, thinking, I'm going to fall forward the whole way down. Dominic probably remembers that.
I do. And
it's almost frightening. You think, oh my God, I'm going to fall down the stairs. Because, you know, and the stairs are leaning forward, or you tell somebody, hang on to the railing, because when you get down to this last step to the cellar, it just tips forward, and you're prepared for it. You know it. You step on it, and you still think you're going to go winging across the room and fall. So we've had those kinds of things. Or you're walking through a yard because you're doing the scope, and you're walking on the ground, and everything looks perfect, but there's holes in there, you know, where something's dug or whatever, and your foot gets stuck, and you think you're gonna, you know, break something. So we've had a lot of that kind of thing.
You deal with a lot of bats.
Yeah, bats.
Oh yeah,
a lot of bats. And I'm usually the kind of guy who doesn't like to get my hands dirty like that, but I have been in more disgusting, horrible attics and basements and crawl spaces than I ever wanted to be in my short 29 years on this planet. Like, some of the places we go to haven't been touched in a long time. You know, they might be museums, or they might be historical places that don't typically get the best care and love. You know, they're meant to stay as they were. So you'll go up into an attic and be greeted by just all kinds of horrible spider webs and raccoons and bats and squirrels, and you don't, it's so, you don't have to be so much afraid of the spirits. It's the creatures that lurk in the dark.
It was one time, there was a place in Elmira we went to, and I just happened to be walking down the hallway with another team member, and a bat just came dive bombing down at us. Quite a few times. So it just came out of nowhere. So, you know, you deal with things like that too.
I wasn't on that one, but I think I would have been out in my car for a while.
Yep.
We have another question from Megan Henley, who asks, what is the best evidence you caught?
Oh, let's see. We've got a good picture. Somebody else took. It was a guest on a tour that took a picture at a window at the Bundy Museum, and you could see figures of 3 people in there, and 2 of them were a woman, 2 women, and there was a child, and one looked like a servant. You know, they had the servant hat and everything on it, and there was a child and a woman that had her hair up. That was one I remember. I don't know, what do you remember, Deb?
I like the one where it was the shadow figure in a doorway.
Oh yeah.
And in a local Binghamton place. And that was something that we hadn't seen. Didn't see it with our eyes or anything. And I had just gone to the bathroom when one of our members clicked that picture that way. And later I saw him like, oh my gosh, where was that when I was in the bathroom? You know, it was huge. We're thinking like 7 feet by measurements of the doorway, and took up a lot of the room, but you could see some light through it from the window beyond that was at the road with the street light. That was impressive to me. We had some really great orb ones. I mean, there was a theater place we did that had some orbs that looked like people in them, faces in them. That was amazing.
We've had some good EVPs too. I mean, really clear ones.
Oh yeah.
We've had ones that mocked us, ones that were kind, like hello and inviting and let's party. We've had all kinds of those.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question from Hannah Mayer, who asks, any experiences with the ghosts of Roberson?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. 100%.
The lady in green. Remember that, Gina?
Yeah.
That lets herself known.
Yep.
Yep, that's for sure.
Little girl there that lets herself known.
Mm-hmm.
There's others.
You get lots of feelings of being like drawn to like specific rooms and being watched. You know, when it's been late after RoberCon before, when we've been packing up, you know, we've just when the place is empty, it takes on a whole nother energy, and it just, you feel it. You feel like there's, even though people are gone, people aren't really gone. Like there's still like an energy of people walking around. You could feel like you're being looked at, like you're being stared at, like you're being watched from the room across the way, even feeling like something's right behind you. And you turn around and nobody's there, and you're expecting them to be there because, you know, there's still vendors taking down and packing up and all this stuff. You turn around, no one's there. And you get that feeling a lot at the Roberson.
I had an experience in the elevator at RoberCon one year where the elevator wouldn't open up. And I said, okay, I know you're here. You could open up the elevator door now. And it opened up after I asked it to open up. So, and I knew somebody or something was in there. So
that happened to my client when I was in there, because we used the elevator a lot. And the one year that we were there, and the elevator opened, and it had a pause where it would, you know, pause before it closed or opened. But this was like a long pause. Like the 2 of us looked at each other like, is it gonna open? Gonna press the button. So yeah, we had that too.
Yeah, and the hallway right where the elevator is too is kind of creepy.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's where the top of the stairs where on that side of the elevator we experienced a little girl. And then in the room, the opposite side, on the other side of the stairwell, it seems like experience something in there too, or it follows you in there, one or the other.
We got another question from Amy Burke who asks, where were your favorite places to go?
Oh, let's see. We did an investigation at 205 Drive a couple years ago. Another place was the Galaxy Brewing.
That was a
That
great
was
one.
an awesome investigation. Awesome. And
My
of course,
God,
of
that was
course,
great.
the Bundy. We've been there several times.
Yeah.
One of our favorite places too.
The Bundy is like our home. We love the Bundy. It's where we go to a lot.
Yeah. But,
Lindenwald and Elmira.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had that one's my favorite. I've been
Yeah,
there.
that one's my favorite too, actually.
I've been there several times. That place calls to me.
And the cemetery you just went to, Connecticut Hill.
Yep, that's
Yep.
my other favorite. Yep. Yeah, and we also just recently did an investigation up at Evergreen Cemetery. That's another great place that we got a lot of evidence from. So I enjoyed that one very much.
Every place brings its own little nuances, and that's
Yeah.
what I like about it. Like in reality, every place we go to is kind of my favorite. Some more so than others because we get more response, we get more evidence, we get more out of the experience. But I think I could safely say that every place we've been to, minus a couple private places, have been really worth going to, and are definitely on my list of favorites. You know, it's the ones that you look at when you roll up to the building and just go, oh man, why are we here? That really usually draw out the best stuff.
Okay, that reminds me of our Wego client investigation. All
Yeah.
three of us drove up and we all had the look, looking at each other, and we all felt the same, like we don't want to go in there.
Yep.
And I'm picturing the dog barking with the chains on the porch and a fire in there, and all those things actually did happen. So I was getting some good psychic readings on the house, but we were, God bless the people, but we were glad when we were gone. It had nothing to do with the spirits, for the reason we didn't want to be there.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. It was hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot more investigations ahead of us, which I'm sure will be a lot of our favorites.
Oh yeah.
I think Dominic and I had a really, really great experience when we were at the Brackney Inn. It was just, it was on the news, and it was mind blowing. We were sitting next to each other, and I just thought I saw this old man across from me, in my mind's eye kind of thing. And Dominic starts mentioning this old man sitting over there, and I'm like, so we were comparing notes and what we saw, and I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I know, I've seen that man before. It's on the picture out in the other room. And come to find out, he had died, like, what was it, 2 months before?
Yeah,
that?
something like that. It was not that long before we were there.
Not that long. And his family, all these circumstances, his whole family went through, and they ended up together there while we were there. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Everybody showed up, and I don't know if it was because we were there or if it was just by happen chance, but that was freaky to go out there and be like, oh, well, the family's there. And we're like,
what?
Didn't the family, weren't they supposed to go, like, they went to a restaurant and it was closed or something?
So
and
they
it
went to an
was
ice cream place, and it was closed, and they ended up there.
Yeah, it was like fated. It's so crazy.
And the thing with the tractor at the end?
Yeah, there was this guy in a tractor trailer with a John Deere thing on it.
Yep.
It just happened by, and we were like, oh my gosh, what are the odds of that? A John Deere, because that's what the old man was riding, and it was
in the picture. In the picture, he was on it.
And the guy had said that it's funny because he never really ever stops there. This is like his third time in his life, and he lives nearby for many years.
Everything just added up way too good for that day. That was crazy.
Yeah. And we did get some evidence on there. We got some light orbs where he was on a picture, and a door where that was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at his bar stool.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of really crazy readings off of that when I sat there. It just felt really weird. Like, I felt like somebody was going to come by and kick my butt and be like, you don't ever sit in that bar stool. That's my bar stool. And I was like, ugh.
Right. And his wife was, at the same time you were doing that, his wife was actually talking to his picture.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really strange. Like, that was just a strange day, but it was awesome. It was really awesome.
And I bet he was hearing every single thing she said because
He's probably standing right there.
Yeah.
He's probably standing right next to her.
There.
Yep.
My other favorite place is in a Wego there, the jail. It was a restaurant.
Oh yeah.
My other place. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot what the name of the restaurant was.
The Calaboose.
Calaboose Grill.
Yep.
Yeah, that was another great place that we investigated. We had many
Oh my
experiences there. It was intense. So,
Yeah, there was a guy that got hung in the back, right? Or
Yep.
hung himself, and one hung himself in a jail thing. We were able to read that. I mean, the imprints are still there, and you
Oh
can.
yeah.
Wasn't
he
it?
caught fire.
Yes, the
Mhm.
imprints are still there.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, in the room that they took the man who, a man burned himself alive in that place, and they took him to a back room to treat him medically. And in that back room, when we were in there, we all started smelling like smoke, and one of our members started just coughing horribly out of nowhere. And this is a man who has smoked for most of his life, and he would normally have a cough, but he never coughed like that. This was like he was just inhaling tons and tons of smoke. And another one of our old members' cameras got kind of put, I think it was like tossed up in the air a little bit while the strap was still around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
And we all started feeling these feelings of like anger. We all started getting really angry feeling and really paranoid, and the room got really hot, and it was just a very strange experience to experience. And when we left the room, we were fine. And we've always wanted to go back there to see if we could replicate that. But we fully believe that we had the spirit of the man who burned himself in that room with us, and he was letting us feel what he felt the day that he did what he did, which man, that must have been something to experience for him, because it was really, really intense for us.
And in the back, they had a tree where they hung people. And
no, it wasn't a hanging tree. They had a gallows there.
Oh, the gallows. There you go.
It was a gallows.
That's right. Yeah, and we experienced some stuff back there too.
Yep.
So one of us was touched. We heard voices. We really got some really good EVPs.
We were hearing voices on the wind.
Yeah.
Because it was breezy that night. We were hearing voices on the wind, and there was nobody around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've experienced quite a bit there, and just, I mean, things were moving. We kept hearing noises upstairs when we were downstairs. I don't know if you remember that, Deb.
I do. I remember hearing like the coffee pot going on, and I know there was noises with the coffee pot the whole time that were normal, but this was like somebody gonna get somebody coffee. And then we heard the dripping, and there's no drip, there's no water drip. And we kept hearing the dripping like the faucet was on in behind the bar.
Yep.
And it's drier and dry, nothing on. Yeah. And we heard a bang or something, or some kind of knock by the stairs where Will, you and I heard it.
Yep.
No reason for that to be there.
Oh, and then the video camera we had set up got moved.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it powered off by itself.
Yeah. We get a lot of battery drainage too. We got some of that there. Yeah.
Get a lot of human drainage too. We're usually very tired and hungry by the time we're done with these things.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
It's like we've
most
been
all the time.
Yeah, it's like we've been through the ringer, you know. It's
every
investigation, it's like we're hungry, we're drained, you know. It's like we ran a marathon or something.
Yeah, for real. Like you feel like you've been up for like 24 hours straight when you've only maybe been in an investigation for 4 or 5 hours, sometimes less. and you just feel like you haven't eaten in days.
And then there's the paranormal hangover we get.
Yeah.
We've gotten that for days, like a week. It would last sometimes a week, a few days afterwards. It's draining.
You could feel like you're getting sick, and then you'll wake up in a few days and suddenly you're just better, and you realize it's just your energy's drained. You just feel yucky. And I've gone on investigations, some of our best ones, when I've had horrible insomnia episodes where I hadn't slept in a couple of days, went on investigations, got through the investigation, and then immediately after that feel like I was catching the flu or something like that, and thought maybe I'd run myself down. I'll sleep for a day and suddenly it's like nothing ever happened. And that's just the effects you get from opening yourself up to that kind of thing. You're putting out a lot of energy. Things are taking energy from you, but there's no equivalent exchange. What you put out, you don't get back. So you're usually pretty dead by the time you're done.
Yeah.
Pun not intended.
I just want to bring up something before we continue on. Tonight, we're going to be doing the world's largest ghost hunt at the Bundy Museum. We're going to be live on our Facebook page from 7 to 11. So if you guys want, check us out. And there's also other teams that are going to be investigating too. If you go on the world's largest ghost hunt or National Ghost Hunting Days site or Facebook page, you'll be able to get on there. So, but check us out. We're going to be doing that tonight. Speaking of investigations. So it's going to be a long day for Empirical.
So we have like 5 minutes left. Any more questions?
None yet. Let's see if we get some in.
So while we're waiting to see if anybody has any more questions, we are willing to travel out of, our area a little bit. We plan on doing some investigations in the future here, like up in Buffalo area. We're thinking about doing a Gettysburg investigation and, some other places in New York State that, we've been wanting to do for a while. We're going to save our pennies so we can go. So once we do that, we'll definitely let you guys know, So I'm looking forward to something like that. I think we have a question, Dominic.
Yeah, we do. Amy Burke asks, how and when did you figure out your abilities?
With me, I just kept having paranormal experiences, and I just seem to have spirits follow me a lot. And my empathic ability to brought that on because I could feel them around and everything. Go ahead, Deb or Dom, if you want to tell them.
Go ahead, Dom.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said before, I knew most of my life that I was able to see and feel the spirits because I have been since I was a little kid. But it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago when something started reaching out to me every night when I was going to bed. I think that's when I probably started really realizing that maybe there was something to this. And one day I reached out through my internal voice and something reached back. And I went to my mom about it. I was like, what does that mean? And she said, well, that means that you're empathic. You can communicate with them. You can feel them. They know that you can, so they're drawn to you. And I did a little bit more reading into it, and I reached out to my spiritual advisor, one of my best friends, and she said herself, yeah, you have the ability. If you can reach out, if you could read people, if you could feel people, you could read the spirits, feel the spirits, then you're empathic to some degree. And I think that's when I knew.
Well, I didn't really know. I mean, I thought I knew, but everybody in my life kept doing the opposite that Gina did with Dominic. It was like the opposite. Like, no, you're just crazy. It's just your imagination and all that stuff. And it wasn't until I ended up in a haunted house I didn't know was haunted at the time, going through many, many things at one time. And I ended up getting help with that and learned that I had the abilities to clear it and take control. And that's where I said, I want to do this for other people. I want to help other people do that. So that was pretty much it. And then ended up being asked to be in a team and ran it and ended up running it and then retired and handed it over to Gina. And now I'm back part-time. So that's my story in a nutshell.
We have one more question.
Yep. Megan Henley asks, do the ghosts ever make you feel really uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
They don't have any boundaries. So they tend to not exercise common sense and reason like we would. I think that's something you lose when you pass over because your emotional responses kind of take over more so. They'll get all up in your business really fast. They can even just put off the feeling of any feeling that'll make you feel uncomfortable, dread, sadness, anger, even sickness. I have an anxiety disorder, and typically when I'm on an investigation, if we have a ghost that's very nervous, I will feel that, and for the whole night I'll just have nothing but anxiety, and it's incredibly uncomfortable. They can make you feel and do basically anything, and they'll wake you up in the middle of the night. They'll encroach on your personal space when you're trying to do stuff. They'll constantly distract you when you're in the middle of doing stuff that's important. You'll see little flashes and flickers out of the corners of your eyes when you're sitting there, and it's very distracting, and it's very discomforting.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Looks like our time's up.
Okay, so again, check us out tonight between 7 and 11 on our Facebook page. We're doing the world's largest ghost hunt at the Bundy Museum in Binghamton, New York. Mm-hmm. And thank you for coming and seeing us. And come to our table. We've been sitting there and waiting for somebody to come by. So check us out. There's a little table there. Dominic and I will be there for the rest of the day, at least until about 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a great day, all.
Have a good day. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.